Welcome, Crossroads family. It is good to see you today. And we have fast approaching, probably some of you hadn't thought about it yet, but it is coming like a freight train that the Southern Baptist Convention is coming to Indianapolis in June 2027. And I know I'm excited, and I hope you're excited, and we're starting to have meetings already. But I wanted you to get a chance to hear from the insider of all insiders, Jonathan Howe. And he truly is the man that pulls the levers that makes this big machine happen. And Jonathan, it says now your title is the Vice President for Convention Administration.
Yeah.
Now, what is that? Tell us a little
Well,
bit
it
about that.
yeah, so I handle a lot of the internal stuff that goes on here at the executive committee. So everything involving the building, the IT, that kind of stuff, as well as the committee work for the convention. And the big piece of my pie is the annual meeting. So that is kind of my baby, and it keeps me awake at night way more than it should, but it's also a lot of fun. So it's the most fun thing that I think I've ever worked on. And, just because there's just so much going on, it's so great to see Southern Baptists from all over the country get together and just to make it possible for that to happen. And, our team here, it's small, but it's mighty. But we get a lot done, and it's fun to do what we do, and to do it for Southern Baptists, and so that they will have a great experience at the annual meeting every year.
That's good. It's good stuff. Well, and matter of fact, speaking of that thing going to make it happen. It seems like that the convention was just here not very long ago,
It
right?
was. It was.
And now we're back. So there may be some guys listening today that don't know, well, wait a minute, why is it back? That doesn't seem like the routine. Tell us
Yeah.
why we're back in Indy.
We're back in Indy because Salt Lake City decided they wanted a downtown entertainment district. That's honestly the reason. So we were supposed to be in Salt Lake City in 2027, and in May of 25, I got a phone call or an email from Salt Lake City, the folks out there saying, "Hey, we need to talk." And that's one of those emails that you get, and you're like, "Oh, this is not good." You've gotten those emails. Hey, we need to
Oh,
talk.
yes.
Or that text from
Oh, yeah.
whomever. They're never good news. And I'm like, oh no, what is going on? So we got on the phone with them and are on Zoom and talked to them. And basically what had happened, they had sold a big plot of land in downtown Salt Lake City. And on that plot of land that they had sold was to become a downtown development district, kind of like Atlanta Live, if you've seen that, or any of those blank lives,
Right.
Kansas City Live. I think they have one in Dallas, different things. But basically to create one of those in Salt Lake City in downtown. And on that land was half of the convention center. And so their convention center is in the process next year going to be remodeled, and was not going to be available for us. They didn't know when the construction was going to start. They thought it was going to start in 26. It's actually starting next spring, next summer. So, but there's like no guarantee that we can host you. So we don't have a place for you to go. So honestly, we had such a great experience in 2024 in Indianapolis. Became great friends with those guys up there. They were scheduled to host us in 2028, and they were honestly looking to get out of that possibly because they needed the space for the Olympic trials. They were going to host the swimming Olympic trials again. That's coming. So, shocker, spoiler alert for you in Kansas City. That's
Yeah,
coming again in 28,
exactly.
like it was back in 24
Back
when they
then,
put
yeah.
the big pool in Lucas Oil. So they were looking to maybe try to move us out anyway, or try to work with us and figure something out. And it all worked out. They had the dates open. They were my first phone call. So I got off the phone with the Salt Lake City, and after I got myself together, like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? I picked up the phone. I called the guys in Indy, and they were like, "Yeah, we've got the dates open. Let's do it."
Oh,
So
that's
we
nice.
we fell. I mean, the Lord's favor was on us. I mean, honestly, because trying to find something 2 months or 2 years out, it's hard. That it's this is a big convention. There's only certain cities that can host it, and Indianapolis just happened to be open, and we slotted right in, and the rest is history. So now we're coming in 27. We're gonna be back in 31 and 35. So
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, and from what you guys have told us before, unless you're just, scratching itching ears, you've said that Indy is one of the favorite locations because
Oh,
of
absolutely.
centrality and
It
all.
really is. I mean, it's close to a lot of Southern Baptists. It's easy to get in and out of if you're driving. It's easy to fly in. The Indianapolis airport's one of the best in the country. I fly a lot for my job, and it is one of the easiest to navigate airports in the country. And I love it. It's easy to get downtown from there. And then the convention center itself, it's a compact layout. You don't have a lot of walking like we did in Orlando this year. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I did 210,000 steps, I think it was, in 10 days. I was averaging over 20,000 steps a day in Orlando because it's just so big. The Indianapolis Convention Center is really tight. The hotels are all right there. There's tons of restaurants, tons of things to do downtown. It's a great setup. It is really, really one of the best setups. It's in my top three
that's
in
awesome.
the country. So,
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to have you back, and you know, it's hard to believe though that there are some of my pastors here in Crossroads that have never been before.
yeah.
If you had just a couple of minutes here, rather than watching the thing or streaming the thing, convince them to come and experience the convention in 2027.
Yeah. So, a lot of people see it as just, 2 days of fighting or, arguing at microphones and stuff like that. Now it is that. I mean, obviously we know it is that at times, but it's so much more. And I don't want to boil it down to just the business part or anything like that. There are so many events. We book about 150 to 160 different things during the week that go on there. There's fellowships for every state almost. There's lunches, there's dinners, there's breakfast sometimes. There's training and equipping. I know that's something we kind of beefed up last year with the micro conferences starting in Orlando. There's great preaching. There's other preaching. No, I'm kidding. There's all great preaching that's going on. There's great music, great worship, and it's just a really good time for Southern Baptists from across the country that you may not get to see but once a year. But you see them every year at the annual meeting, and you get to catch up. You get to find out how things are going. You get to see baby pictures, grand baby
That's right.
pictures, whatever it may be. And it's just a good time for Southern Baptists to be able to come together and remember why we do what we do. And a lot of times that is that missionary sending ceremony that happens on Tuesday morning. And that right there, I mean, it's the pinnacle for so many people because it's a good, tangible reminder of why we're doing what we're doing. We're doing this to send missionaries to take the gospel to the ends of the earth. And I mean, if that don't get you fired up, I don't know what will, man.
That's right. Yeah, your wood is wet, as they used to say. That
Yeah.
can get you fired up. Well, and I tell the guys the same kinds of things. I mean, and I don't want to sound cheesy or sappy, but I mean, I go to bear witness, to be a part of something that happens that no other denominational structure allows to happen. That bottom up, that I can ask a question and I'm a nobody. I can be a part of that process. And how I've seen, like the whole convention turn on some little old lady who says, "Hey, let me just say this." And all of
Uh-huh.
a sudden, everybody goes, "Yeah, she's right. Yeah, that's what
Mm-hmm.
we need to do." So, yeah, it's exciting stuff. So, what are some of those things that if we've convinced them to come,
Yeah.
that what are some of the things that they're going to be able to be a part of while they're there?
Okay. So, well, one of the things we haven't mentioned yet is the exhibit hall. That is something that over the past few years has grown, and people, it's gotten to where I mean, we have nearly, and we're probably in Indianapolis, we'll have close to 300 exhibitors. Just anything and everything that you need in your church, whether it be a software type service or website, or if you need a bus. I mean,
Right.
random stuff like that. I mean, even things like that or an envelope service or whatever it may be, just anything. If you're looking at maybe going back and getting a DMin or finishing your MDiv, whatever it may be, there's a lot of opportunities for you to have those face-to-face conversations and not just click around on some website or try to be have some sleazy salesman show up at your church door or something
Mm,
like that. Not
mm.
all of them are sleazy, you know what I mean. But it's an opportunity to get to know the products that you're using or want to use or are interested in using, and we hear that from pastors and church leaders across the country how much they appreciate the exhibit hall at the annual meeting because they can come with a list of, hey, I need to talk to people in these areas. and they have options. It's not just, hey, here's the one thing that here's the one group that does this. It's no, here's about a dozen groups that do this thing, and you get to pick which one does it best for your church in your context.
Cool.
So the opportunities that you have there to be able to partner with organizations outside of the SBC and inside the SBC to help your church do what it does in its local context in the manner that you need it, it's invaluable. So that's a big piece right there. And then the other pieces are there's, we talked about it a minute ago, the micro conferences, a lot more chances for equipping. So last year we started this for other people than pastors. So if you're a discipleship leader, a church children's group leader, a student leader, a worship leader, we have something for you. It's not just for the pastors anymore. There's stuff for the entire staff. So what we are encouraging staffs to do is come as a staff. There's something for everybody on your staff, whether it's paid, volunteer, BIVO, whatever it may be. We've got something for your church staff member, whatever they may be. And so we're trying to encourage staffs to come together to experience the equipping time that we have. We're calling that SBC Equip. It's the micro conferences. There's going to be even more this year. There's going to be stuff on missions and evangelism, worship, discipleship, kids, students, you name it, women's ministry, the whole gamut. If you're involved in leadership in your church, we've got somewhere to be for that you can be equipped at the annual meeting. So that's a big piece that hasn't existed in the past that we've heard time and time again. Hey, we wish there was more equipping. We wish there was more equipping. So we've created that space at the annual meeting so that you can come. Like I said, it's not just the business meeting, it's the other stuff too. And that's a big piece, is the equipping. So, I mean, those are the kind of benefits I think that you have of being there, that you may not think through or may not, understand that happen. I mean, it's so much more than just that. And then it's the fellowship times, the NAM luncheon, the IMB dinner, those kind of things, the 9 marks at 9, whatever, if you're in that type of persuasion or you're just interested in theology type stuff that they're talking about. I mean, go to that. I mean, you've got the For the Church thing that it's a luncheon that Midwestern puts on that they always have great, panels and speakers at. And there's just so much for everybody. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee there's going to be something going on, some type of event or equipping for you at the annual meeting.
Yeah, that's really, yeah, and it's every single side from the exhibit hall, because that's always kind of our first stop. When we get
Yeah.
there, yeah, we take a quick buzz through, and every single time there's something I'm going to latch on. And then, you're talking about all the different conferences. There's something. Sometimes I'm just like walking by, and all of a sudden, hey, wow, that's something I didn't even know that was here.
Mm-hmm.
And to be a part
I
of,
do that too. And I'm in charge. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
what is this?
It's awesome. No, but
Yeah.
really, I mean, almost every kind of itch, every kind of thing that you could possibly think of and not think of,
Yeah.
is going to be there in some kind of format. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the excitement of seeing. And you're going to also, one of the things that I think that I've noticed many times is that there are going to be things rolled out there
Yeah.
that you're not going to see anywhere else,
No.
or you're not going to be able to get it in some other type of venue or some other kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're not there, you're going to miss out.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, I mean, like the thing that they rolled out at the NAM lunch this last year with the chat bot thing, the
Yeah.
witness, that was
Yeah, the
amazing.
evangelism training chatbot and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
And I mean,
that was
there's the launch of new initiatives from abuse prevention. I mean, that was another thing this
yeah,
past year that was new. I mean, that is the place where things roll out. I mean, I know one seminary that is rolling out a new branding this year. They've already told us it's coming because we're working with them on the timing of everything. I mean, it's things like that. University of Mobile last year, we worked with them. We had to keep their signage or whatever you want to call it under wraps because they were rolling out a new branding and new logo thing. So it's kind of the pinnacle of the Baptist year,
yeah.
and you get to see firsthand like the first eyes on things whenever that happens. So it's exciting.
Very cool. That's very cool. So, as far as ways like our Indiana pastors, now, what are some ways that they can be actually involved
Yeah.
or participate in this whole big event that's happening?
Yeah. So there's a few things, and one that we really haven't touched on yet, and kind of shame on me for this, but crossover.
Yep.
Leading up into the week. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot more information coming both from NAM and from the state convention, and probably from you at
Yep.
Crossroads, the association there. Y'all be talking about crossover and how churches can get involved in reaching their community with the gospel leading up into the annual meeting. So that's a thing that NAM does every year. They kind of coordinated things with the state convention, with the local associations, with local churches to host events, to do evangelistic outreach in their communities to reach people with the gospel in ways that maybe they haven't tried before or don't have the funding for. NAM comes alongside and provides the opportunities to do that. And that's a big piece. And that is, if there's anything that a local church in Indiana can do to be a part of the annual meeting, that's the big piece. Like I would encourage that over anything else. And there's some other things that I really need you for, but that makes an eternal difference. You can help me volunteer and make a difference for a week, and I'll really appreciate it. But if you're part of crossover, you can make an eternal difference in people's lives, and that's a bigger piece than anything that we do. And that's one of the, kind of shame on me again for not mentioning it before, but that is a big piece of how local churches can be involved in the annual meeting. And then otherwise, I mean, like, we need volunteers. Indiana has got 450 churches, and we need about 700 volunteers for the week. So it's like not even one per church. I need a lot. And we're coming from Orlando and Florida, where they had 2,200 churches. It was a little easier to get bodies down there in Orlando, where there's 200, 300 churches within a 45-minute drive. But a little different there in Indiana. I know you've got about 90 or so in the Crossroads Baptist
Well, 100.
Association.
Yeah, we're up to 100.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're at 100 now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we need people to help us out, to help volunteer, and we'll make that available in ways that you can do that. But I mean, it's just simple as just showing up and being a greeter or being an usher, passing a bucket around to collect ballots, or just helping out, getting ready for registration. That's just putting name tags together. That's it. I mean, it's simple stuff. It's not really, I'm not going to put you in charge of something big or anything like that. Or maybe you just like really have a heart for prayer and want to just spend some time with the prayer room. I mean, we've got that. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can be a part, and it's really easy to be a part of it and be a volunteer. And, so that's a great way for the local churches to help out. Again, we're going to be here 3 times over the next decade. So we need some bodies.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that the neat thing about that is that, you actually get to see kind of behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
If you've been before, but it's like you get to see stuff that you wouldn't have a chance to see any other way. It's really good.
And I know in like 2024, you probably were like, I had no idea.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
all this took place. It's like, yeah, it's a lot. It takes a lot. I mean, you got 20,000 people ish coming. And so it takes a lot of people to make things work right and work smoothly. And we've got it down to a pretty good, science. We know what we're doing. We know what we need. And so, it's not overly complicated. So it just requires bodies.
Yeah, that's good. Well, my wife, she would testify that, like, my phrase after all that is, I just kept saying, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how that got done, but it really is, I think, and you feel a part of it. You feel like, man, I'm really helping and pulling this thing off. And crossover is something that we're already having these conversations. We've been actually having the conversation prior to this. Yeah. And it really is that opportunity for, especially if a church, it's like, if you've never done anything like it before, if this is the way to come and cut your teeth, or to get involved and see kind of how this could work, rather than, like trying to make it up as you go in your context, you can come and see and be a part of it and make those connections. Because I know last year, 24, is that I was able to make some seminary connections with guys to say, hey, listen, I'd love for you to come and do some training. I'd love for you to, let's have a meeting like this and talk about how the door-to-door stuff went. And so anyway, there's just, layer upon layer. So, yeah.
Well, and I've heard of many, we have people that from across the country that come in and help with crossover too. And there's been story after story of churches that are connecting across state lines, that didn't know each other before, but are forming like a ongoing and long-term partnership of ministry with one another. And that's just a great testament of the coming together of the Southern Baptist Convention, and how it brings us together to accomplish that one goal of taking the gospel to the ends of the earth.
Yeah. Well, and for me, one of the things that I now way long ago when I was planting a church here, and we had the convention come to the city. I can't remember what year that was, but for the people that were in our church plant who were not Southern Baptists to begin with,
Yeah,
and all of for them to see churches and people coming from California and Mississippi and Michigan, and all of a sudden, and they never, afterwards they would say, Chris, I didn't realize what I was a part of,
yeah,
that this is an amazing thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool,
yeah.
right?
Was that 2008?
uh, Must have been, had to be,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, and it was, I mean, we got all kinds of help. I mean, it was an all-day event that we did. And yeah, it was just an amazing thing. We saw a lot of
That's awesome.
salvation. So, yeah, it was great stuff.
That's great.
Yeah. So, all right. So if there's, in other words, what's the goal? So, like, by the end of the convention, what is the one takeaway that you want pastors to have as they leave?
Man, that's a great question. I'm usually the one asking these questions, the road to, and I'm like, I've never been asked that question. So I guess the answer would be, I want people to be, like you said, I want them to be both proud of being Southern Baptist and encouraged to, keep working. To not grow weary in doing good.
Amen.
To be encouraged about where the convention's going, what the convention is doing, what the people, and because the convention is the people, it's the churches, and what they're doing and how they're reaching their communities, and to learn from them, and to be encouraged and inspired to do that in your own community, to encourage those in your church to be in ministry, to be missionaries, to whatever it may be, fulfill that calling to ministry or the mission field, or whether that's in the local church, or whether that's going to seminary, whatever it may be. It's opening up the eyes of those that are attending, that are in your church as well, to all the opportunities that they have to serve the kingdom through the convention. So that to me, that's kind of the goal, is to put the convention on its best display. And sometimes, the headlines don't really match that. You see the news headlines after, you're like, were they at the same convention that I was? I didn't get that takeaway, but it's a lot of times it's a lot different whenever you're there. And, I know people that have come away just incredibly encouraged about the direction of things, and what's going on, and just the accomplishments that are happening, and, being interested in, maybe going on the mission field, maybe going and being that church planner in that next city, whatever it may be. So, I hear stories about that every year. People are being called to plant churches and called to the mission field at the annual meeting. And it's just you're around it. You can't help but enjoy what Southern Baptist, and not just enjoy, but respect and honor, and really just be encouraged by what Southern Baptists are doing and what God's doing through Southern Baptist. That's more accurately said.
Amen. Well, and that's another thing that my wife and I always look forward to is that the worship,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
it just it's like, you're going to be with 14,000 other of your closest friends, and as you all are lifting up, the name of the Lord together in song, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And just like you were saying, I think that it's like God puts you in that place where I think he speaks in those moments,
Mm-hmm.
and even if it's, I tell guys all the time, first of all, take a deep breath, be understand that you're going to hear a lot of headlines, you're going to see a lot of things, or misunderstand people on social media. There's going to be all of that. There's going to be all the news outlets and all that kind of stuff, and they're always going to cast things in such a way. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay.
Yep.
We The great thing is that, and Kevin Azal, when I was with Nam, he used to tell us all the time, it's like, hey, we're a big family, and in every big family there are crazy uncles. And they come out of the woodwork at this time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay,
Yeah.
and that really is. I mean, and I reassure people to say, hey, listen, um, we have walked through some hard things, some tough discussions and debates and battles. At the end of the day, we make the right decisions. We do the right things. It may take us a while to get there, but
Yep.
that's the arm wrestling and all the good stuff. And it's, man, what a great thing just to know that, man, I'm a part of that, and it brings tears to my eyes. I get goosebumps
Yeah.
thinking about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, hey, brother, thanks for taking some
Yeah,
time.
man. Thanks for having me on.
I know you're,
I'll
I know
return the
you're
favor in the spring.
absolutely,
We'll
absolutely.
have you on the
That's
road too.
fantastic. Good, good. Well, hey, listen. So, where do they, all the things that we've talked about? Where do they go to discover
Yeah.
information?
So we're working on a new website right now for the annual meeting, but spcannualmeeting.net. It'll be updated soon with the Indian information. So we'll have all that. You'll be able to volunteer there. So just kind of keep an eye out on that. And but spcannualmeeting.net is the kind of the hub for everything, and that's that's what you need to do and need to know. And if you're interested, always they can contact you. You can get them in touch with me if you want to be a part of anything, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody. And we'll be up there quite a bit between now and June. We'll be up there every couple months or so, getting some planning sessions going, and just meeting with different pastors as well as people from all over the country that are coming in planning their events at the annual meeting. So
That's good.
we'll be around.
Yeah. Well, and it is good. It is, and it will be good to see you, and it'll be good to see, all that family reunion that you were talking about
Yeah,
before. So, and we'll have that in the link here and on the YouTube channel. So if
cool.
you need any more information. But thanks for tuning in today, Crossroads Family, man. I appreciate you guys, and look forward to what God is going to do through Convention 2027. So we'll see you
Yeah.
next time.